Hi and welcome to this video. Today I'm going to be talking about all the books that I want to read in July. Now for the last couple of months I've used the TBR jar to determine my TBR, but there are some exciting things coming up in July and I already have some books in mind that I want to read. So I don't think we'll be needing my TBR jar. I think I have enough books collected for this month. So I'm going to talk about what I want to read in July. Please let me know in the comments what you're about to read in July and let's get started. So let's start with the book clubs that I'm in. This month I'll be joining the World Tour Book Club again, which is hosted by Emma from Emmy. And for this month there were very great picks, and the pick that got chosen for July is As Long as the Lemon Trees Grow by Katu. Now this book I've heard a lot about. It has a very high rating on Goodreads. I've seen it all over Instagram and YouTube. So I'm very excited to pick this one up. I'm very excited to see what the fuss is all about. However, it is a very sad book. Now we've been reading a lot of sad books for this book club. However, a lot of those books have been 4 or 5 star reads, so I have very high hopes for this one. This book is about immigrants and Syria and just loss. It is a YA, so I'm not expecting it to be very heavy, but I think the topic itself is just very heavy already. So I definitely think this is going to be a hard read, hard hitting and a heavy read. So I'm definitely also adding some fun and lighthearted reads to my TBR to kind of balance out the sadness. As I said, it's about immigrants, it's about Syria, and a lot of tragic things happen there. So I expect this book to be very tragic as well. But it has a very high rating and I've heard a lot of great things about it, so I'm very excited to pick this up. So the first book that I'll be reading is As Long as the Lemon Trees Grow by Katu. Now, as I said, the options for July for this book club were very great, and one of the books I saw was Steppenwolf by Hermann Hesse, and I was gonna read Steppenwolf by Hermann Hesse anyway. So when I saw that this was a pick for the July book club pick, I voted for it. However, obviously it didn't win because this one won, but I'm still going to read it for July. So Steppenwolf is a book about a man who finds himself to be part wolf, I believe. So the book is about what it means to be a man, and it's kind of philosophical, and I enjoy philosophical books, so I'm really excited for this one. It's definitely a 5-star prediction. Hermann Hesse has actually won a Nobel Prize for Literature, so the expectations are really high. I've also heard great things about this one, so I'm quite sure I'm gonna enjoy it. I don't have a physical copy. My library also doesn't carry it, but I have found an audiobook, so I'm gonna listen to that one via audiobook. So Steppenwolf by Hermann Hesse is the second book that I'm gonna be reading in July. I'm also in the Game of Thrones book club, which is hosted by Emma and Carolyn, and for May and June we've been reading the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Now in July we're actually moving on to a different book, but I'm not quite finished with the trilogy yet, so I'm going to be finishing the trilogy in July. I've been really enjoying it so far, so I don't mind that it's taking me a little longer. I am currently in the second book, so I still have to finish the Two Towers, and then I can continue to the Return of the King. So the Two Towers and the Return of the King will also be added to my July TBR. Then my TBR is already at 4 books, and they're all because of book clubs. So that's why I said I don't need a TBR jar, because there are so many books already. I always try to balance my TBR with some more hard-hitting reads and some more light reads, and I do try to have diverse genres on my TBR, so I can pick whatever I'm in the mood for. And now I already have 2 fantasy, a classic and a YA, so I'm really looking for some manga. Last month in June I actually started reading SpyXFamily and One Piece, and I really enjoyed those series, so I definitely want to continue them in July. Now I've put SpyXFamily Volume 2 and One Piece Volume 3 on hold in my library, but as you can see they're not here yet, so when they come in my library I'll pick them up and I can read them, but for now you just have to imagine them. Now you can watch my full reactions in my reading vlog that I did, but I've just been enjoying SpyXFamily and One Piece so much. SpyXFamily is about a little family of an assassin, a spy and a telepath, and they have these crazy adventures. They're a little over the top sometimes, a little fantastical, but they're very fun to read about, and the drawings are just so cute. I've actually been enjoying it so much. I often laugh out loud at that book. It's really funny, so I definitely want to continue it. So I'll be reading Volume 2 in July, and One Piece, the same thing. It's very enjoyable. I like it a lot. The story is so cool. The cast of characters is amazing. I've read Volume 2 as well now. I've liked that one a lot less because most of the story, trapped or hurt. So it's kind of like the story is not really moving forward. So I like that one a lot less than volume 1. But hopefully when they're out at sea again, the story will continue again and I'll enjoy it as much as volume 1. So those are the 5th and 6th book I'll be adding to my TBR. Now those are some more lighthearted reads, but I'm also looking for a non-fiction in July. Now the non-fiction that I had in mind is The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. So The Power of Now is kind of a self-help non-fiction about being in the present, being in the moment, and it's just a spiritual guide really. Eckhart Tolle is a spiritual teacher. He's really good. He's really famous. I resonate a lot with what he says. There are also some things that I just don't resonate with at all, but I think that's fine. I've read another book by Eckhart Tolle already. I read A New Earth, and that was amazing. It was life-changing, and I truly am not the same person I was before reading that book. I would definitely recommend you read that. Again, I did not resonate with everything he says, but that's fine. There were a lot of little nuggets of wisdom that I could get out of that book, and yeah, it was amazing. I definitely want to reread that book, but I've had this book on my shelves for years now, and I definitely want to read this book in July. So this book has been mentioned in A New Earth, and I've also read a lot of articles about Eckhart Tolle, so I kind of know the gist of this book. I kind of know like the wisdom and the message, but I've never read it cover to cover, so I'm gonna do that in July. This book covers a whole lot of topics of life, like relationships or work, or you know, relationship with yourself. So if you want to read this book, just know it does not really align with a religion. So it's not a religious book. It does not recommend one particular religion. It's more about your relationship with yourself and self-help. And it's kind of a spiritual book. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading this book because I already know that I really like Eckhart Tolle's writing and his way of thinking. And I think this is going to be very interesting and helpful. So that's the non-fiction of this month. Now, as I said, I do have a lot of fun things planned in July, and you're just going to have to wait and see. I'm not going to spoil too much, but one of the books that I had in mind for July was Chess by Stefan Zweig. Chess is definitely a 5-star prediction for me. I've heard many great things about it. It's a very short book. It's almost 80 pages, so I'm kind of skeptical to see how 80 pages is going to turn into a 5-star read for me, but I've heard great things and the premise is just very great, so I am really looking forward to reading this book. And July is going to be the month that I read Chess. Now, if you've never heard about Chess, it's basically about a cruise ship. And on this cruise ship, there is a man who is a chess champion. Then he challenges the passengers to a chess duel. And then a strange voice starts to guide these passengers into winning the chess match. Now, I believe there's a lot more than meets the eye. It's not just about a chess match. It's about these forces and it's a little philosophical, I believe. So as I said, I love philosophical books. So I think this one is going to be great. I've heard many great things about this as well. So I'm really looking forward to this one. I think this is going to be perfect for July. It's a short book. It's an interesting book and I'm very excited to read it. So this is going to be the 8th book on my TBR already. So I'm really curious to see how I'm going to fit that this month. But I'm really looking forward to it. Also done with exams, so I don't have to read for school anymore. Last month I actually had a very hard time with sticking to my TBR because in the beginning of the month I had exams, so I couldn't read as much. And then in the middle of the month I went to the library and I saw that they had a lot of books I wanted to read. So I checked out like 5 books from the library. And of course they had priority because they had to go back to the library. So my TBR kind of fell apart, but I did manage to read a lot of books from my TBR. So I'm still proud of myself. So actually I have 2 books left from the library that I didn't finish in June that need to go back in July. So they kind of have priority actually. The first one is A Study in Drowning, which I was very looking forward to, and I think this is going to be next book that I pick up. So I'm very excited by this one. I still don't know what it's about, but I've heard many great things and I think it's right up my alley. So I can't tell you much because I still don't know what it's about, but I think it's kind of dark academia fantasy like. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. Then the second book that is from the library is Sailor Moon Volume 1. I saw this laying there and I was really surprised. I didn't know they had Sailor Moon, and I'm really excited to pick this one up. Now I started reading this one and I was kind of shocked because Sailor Moon is supposed to be like this middle schooler, but as you can see from the cover, she has a really short skirt, which was kind of my ick with Komi Can Communicate, that these high schoolers were drawn in such a weird way. And now I believe Sailor Moon is supposedly a middle schooler, so it's even more weird. I still don't know anything about the story though, so maybe the story will be very great. We'll have to see, but it's definitely drawn very sexually, so I need to see if I can get over that, if the story is going to compensate for that or not. If it's not going to compensate, then it's probably going to be another Komi Can Communicate scenario. I'm still willing to give it a shot. So that is Sailor Moon Volume 1. And it also needs to go back to the library in July. So I'm going to read it soon. And don't worry, I'm going to tell you all about it, what I think of it. And I'm going to give you my honest opinion, because if I don't like it, then I'm going to just say that. So these are the books that I physically have that I want to read in July. I already have 6 physical books and I have 1 audiobook and 2 books coming in from the library. So I'm going to be reading a lot in July. I'm going to have to see how much I can read in July because I already have a lot of things planned. It's a summer break, so I can do a lot of reading, but I also have other things planned. So we're gonna have to see how much I can read. If you want reading vlogs for any of these books, please let me know and I'll just let you know all my thoughts and if I like them or not. So I want to thank you so much for watching this video. Please let me know what you're reading in July in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!